Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into something pretty deep today.
Deep indeed.
The world of quantum mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically, we're going to tackle a debate about how reality, like, actually gets put together.
This is a question that's been around for, I don't know, at least a century.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really makes you wonder.
And I think, quantum mechanics, it can seem really complex,
Yeah,
but it's also like it's the foundation of everything.
it really is. And this debate we're going to be talking about, it revolves around this idea of the observer.
The observer.
Like, what role do we play? And to get that, we got to start with, well, superposition.
Okay, superposition, so that's where things can be in multiple states at once.
Exactly. Like imagine a particle being in two places at the same time.
Until we measure it.
Yeah, until we look or measure it, it's like this fuzzy, undefined state.
So it's kind of like the universe hasn't made a decision yet.
That's a great way to think about it, and it's only when we make a measurement or observation that, bam,
It collapses.
it uses into a single state. You got it.
Okay, I think I'm getting that part.
Good, good.
But then, here's where things get really, really complicated. What counts as a measurement in quantum mechanics?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and that's where these two physicists come in, Alain and Hervé Zwirn.
Okay, I've heard of them.
They've got some strong opinions, different takes on what the observer really does.
So give us the rundown, like who are these guys and what are their main arguments?
Well, he's got this really interesting idea about what he calls a divine clock.
The divine clock? Okay.
Yeah, it's like this idea that reality unfolds in a predetermined way, independent of any observer.
So everything's already decided. Like we don't have any free will or anything.
That's a big question, and Kahn's idea kind of pushes us in that direction.
Whoa.
It's like saying time, the way we experience it, might be an illusion.
Okay, now that's just trippy. Are you saying past, present, future, it all exists at once?
Well, it's not a brand new idea. You find hints of that in philosophy, even some spiritual traditions.
Huh, I guess so.
But back to Kahn's, it's like this divine clock sets everything in motion, and we're just experiencing it moment by moment.
So he's saying it's predetermined, but then what's Zwirn's counter to that? He must have a different view, right?
He does, yeah. Zwirn, he's all about the role of the observer.
Okay, the observer again.
He focuses on something called decoherence.
Decoherence.
It's basically how all those quantum possibilities, the fuzziness, it collapses into the world we see, classical world.
So it's like the quantum weirdness gets smoothed out when we interact with things.
Yeah, like imagine waves on the ocean, up close, they're all choppy and unpredictable.
Right.
But then from far away, it's a smoother pattern.
I like that analogy.
It helps, right? But here's the thing. Zwirn, he doesn't think decoherence solves everything.
So there's more to it.
Yeah, he thinks the observer, the choices we make, they still matter.
Interesting.
He uses this idea of kairos, like the right moment for something to happen.
So it's not just observing, it's when we observe that matters.
Exactly. And to get this point across, they use this example. Imagine a physics experiment, and the result gets printed on paper.
Okay, like a straightforward experiment.
Exactly. Now, Kahn would say, well, that result, it was always there. The paper already had it, even if nobody looked.
So he's saying the observer doesn't change anything.
Right. But Zwirn would say, no, it's only defined when we observe it.
Whoa. So until someone looks, it's like the result doesn't even exist.
In a way, yeah, it challenges our whole idea of like a fixed reality out there.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Right. Like if it's not fixed until we look, what does that mean for the past, the future, everything?
This is getting deep.
We're just getting started.
Okay, so Kahn says reality's independent, where Zwirn says the observer matters. It's like two sides of the same quantum coin, right?
It really is. And what's even crazier is neither one fully explains everything about the quantum world.
Right, it's still so mysterious.
Yeah, and it makes you think about, classic thought experiments like Schrödinger's cat.
Ah, yeah, the cat in the box.
Both dead and alive until you open it.
That one always messes with my head.
Well, think about Kant's. In his view, that cat's fate, it's already decided.
There's the start.
Yeah, by that divine clock, opening the box just reveals what was always going to be.
Okay, so the cat's destiny is set no matter what.
Right, but Zwirn, different story. For him, opening that box, that's the key moment.
Because that's when the observer forces the cat to be either dead or alive.
Bingo. It's about choice. Remember Kairos, that opportune moment. Opening the box, that's the moment.
So as Zwirn's saying, it's like we're choosing which ending to the story.
Yeah, kind of like that. But he takes it even further.
Further, how?
He says, in the quantum world, you can't just talk about a thing by itself. You've got to consider the whole context.
Including the observer.
Yep, and their choices, like imagine a photographer taking a picture.
Okay, got it.
They choose the angle, the lighting, all that affects the final image.
Right, the way you frame it changes the story, but how does that apply to Zwirn?
He's saying something similar happens at the quantum level.
So it's not just observing, it's how we observe and when.
Precisely. It's like our choices nudge reality in a certain direction.
But then, wouldn't that make everything totally unpredictable?
You'd think so, right? But here's where Kahneman comes back in with a twist.
Another twist.
He says, even though reality is pre-written, there's still this inherent randomness.
Wait, I thought he was all about things being predetermined.
He is, but he calls this randomness the tic-tac of the divine clock.
So it's like a random script.
It's more like, think of a library. Every possible book is there.
Okay, so all the outcomes are already written somewhere.
Yeah, but which book we get, which story unfolds, that's the random part.
So it's both set and random at the same time.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it? Goes against our usual way of thinking.
Yeah, it does, but both Kahn and Zwirn, they're both brilliant.
No doubt about it.
And their ideas, even if they seem contradictory, they make us think about the quantum world in new ways.
They really do.
Okay, but now I gotta ask, how does all this quantum weirdness affect us in our daily lives? Like, do we actually have any say in how things turn out? So we're back, and I feel like we've gone through a real crash course in quantum mind-bending.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure.
Kahn's with his divine clocks, Zwirn saying we actually shape things. It's wild.
It really makes you question everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, okay, we get it's weird, but what does this all mean for us? You know, living our lives, making choices. Do we really have any control, or is it like fate already written?
Well, if we're going with Zwirn, it means we might have more responsibility than we thought.
Responsibility, like for how reality turns out.
In a way, yeah, it suggests our actions, even our thoughts, could be influencing things at a really fundamental level.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
It is, but we got to remember, quantum mechanics, it's happening on such a tiny scale.
So it's not like I can just, I don't know, wish for $1 million and it'll just appear because of quantum stuff?
Huh. Probably not. You see, at our level, the everyday world, things get smoothed out.
That decoherence thing again.
Exactly. Make sure that, like, your coffee cup stays on the table even if you're not looking at it.
Okay, that makes sense. But so even if we don't see these quantum effects directly, is it still important to understand them?
Oh, absolutely. I think at least it sparks something, you know?
What do you mean?
Like a sense of wonder about the universe, our place in it. It makes you realize there's so much we don't know.
It's kind of humbling, right?
It is, and it makes you think, what if our choices do have a bigger impact than we realize?
So if Warren's right and we're kind of shaping things as we go, what kind of reality do we want to be building?
That's the question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer. It's personal. It's about our values, what we want to put out into the world.
So it's like we're all artists creating this big picture together.
I love that analogy. And even though Kant and Zwirn, they don't agree on everything, they both get us thinking.
Thinking outside the box, literally.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, we're not just watching this whole thing unfold. We're part of it, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty amazing way to think about it.
It is. And that's about all the mind-blowing we have time for today.
I think my brain needs a break.
Mine too.
But hey, to everyone listening, keep those questions coming, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.
Take care, folks. 2cc Canada.